It's Maddy. Time for Maddy reviews. Hey. Hey. Hi world. It's Madison. That's me. And let me just tell you, filming this video's not so easy. So just tried to film this, but then I thought it was too long and too boring, and I kept yapping about nothing, and so I have to redo it. So now that I have my thoughts in line, I will review this film for you, and you shall love it. Today, I watched the film Climax, as directed by Gaspar Noe. So I was super excited for this film to come out because I recently watched Gaspar Noé's film Irreversible, which is about a woman who gets raped in an alleyway. And the events leading up to that, and it was really hard to watch, but it was one of the most touching, heart-wrenching films I've ever seen. So after seeing his initial work in that film, I was really excited about this director. So as his new film's coming out, Climax, I was super excited to see it. So going into it, the only idea I had of it, and for those of you who have no idea what this movie's about, basically, here's what my impression was going into it. It's a bunch of dancers who are like at a party and then they just can't stop dancing for some reason and then they die. That's not really what it was. It was actually about, apparently it was based on true events that happened in France in 1996, and it was about a troupe of dancers, and they went to like an after party or something, and someone spiked their sangria with LSD, and it was a very bad outcome, to say the least. So that's what this movie was about. So I really didn't have any expectations, especially based on what I'd seen before from Gaspar in his film Irreversible. So as I started watching it, I could definitely feel the same nuances, like the scenes were very artful and the camera directions moved in the same sort of way that they did in Irreversible, and I was like, oh, okay, I can see this is definitely this is a very similar artistic style, and I was like, oh, that's good. I liked that a lot in his last film. But as the movie went on, I was like, no, this is actually seeming kind of similar. There was probably at least a 5-minute scene in Irreversible where the characters in the movie have to go into like this gay club called Rectum, and it's a very weird scene. It's like pulsing red lights, and the camera keeps shifting from shot to shot, and in the background, like, it doesn't even focus on anything long enough for you to really understand what's going on, but you knew that, like, you can feel that it's depraved and disgusting, and that you don't want to see what's going on. But there was this exact same sequence in Climax, and so I don't know, I thought that was like, I mean, I understand a director wanting to stick to their same sort of style and be true to themselves, but this was like a little too similar, if you ask me. And I don't know, I really liked Irreversible, and it was a really powerful scene in Irreversible, but then once I saw it again in Climax, I don't know, I'm not sure how to feel about it, because it did work well in the movie, but it just was the exact same scene as in Irreversible. Same pulsing red lights, the camera angles keep switching, it's upside down, it's sideways, in the background you see all this lewd and lascivious activity. It's like you can't quite tell what's going on, but you know you're not supposed to be seeing it. So, I thought that was kind of funny, if we're being honest. I was like, come on, Gaspar. Like, you just do something a little different in this one. But anyway, so that happened. But basically, the film is all these people, and they're at a party, and they're dancers, and it's very sexually charged. There's this big scene about how all of them basically just want to have sex with each other. All of them, everybody there. And as they're drinking more and more of the sangria and taking more and more of this LSD, they're just descending into madness. And you can tell it's just an absolutely nightmarish experience for everyone involved, even the people who didn't drink. So, because they're so drugged out of their mind, as you might be able to imagine, there's not really a storyline, which I think was definitely one of the weak points of this film, was there was not a lot to follow. But I will say this, it's hard for a film like that without any character development. You don't feel attached to any of these people because they're honestly just not good people, most of them. So you don't feel any connection to them. You're honestly like, well, I mean, if they die, they weren't really being too awesome. Anyway, so it was like, usually films like that, it's really hard to keep my attention because I just get bored. I'm like, why am I watching this if I don't care, if I'm not going to get anything out of it, if I'm not going to feel anything by the end of this? And so usually I don't like to watch films that are not character driven or don't really have a clear storyline, or not clear necessarily, but a story development. This film definitely did not have that. It was just absolute chaos. All these people are screaming and getting hurt and having sex with each other and getting more and more high on this LSD and pinning things on each other. In the end, it just felt like a very risque adult version of Lord of the Flies. So, I don't know. Basically, it's just these people and they're descending into madness and they've lost all their capability of rational thinking. And you kind of just see them for what they really are, for what they are at their core, which is just animal instinct. So I thought that part of the film was interesting, seeing these people descend down to that base level of just being an animal. And I did think that part was very fascinating, but this movie really did lack in a clear story, but it did keep my attention because of the striking visuals, which is something that Gaspar does very well. He did this in Irreversible as well. I couldn't take my eyes off the screen because everything was just so striking and so disgusting and beautiful, and it was just so many different feelings and emotions and views of one event that I thought it was really interesting. So I think that's what was done well in this film. So done well was really beautiful visuals and a very interesting premise. What was not done well was the characters were just deplorable. No redeeming qualities, really. We didn't get to learn really anything about them or care about them at all, and there wasn't really a clear storyline, which, granted, I don't think there was supposed to be in a film like this, because this film was just supposed to be about this nightmarish event, and it was supposed to feel like a nightmare, and it did. So that was done very well. So, in the end, my final thoughts are this film was you know, it was kind of a nightmare, but a nightmare that you don't want to wake up from. Yes, a nightmare you don't want to wake up from. So I think that's my endorsement for the movie. A nightmare you don't want to wake up from. But yeah, I would recommend it. I think it was a really fascinating movie. And for those of you who know me, this is a very rare verdict from me after watching a film. I usually either hate a film or I love a film. So I very rarely fall in the middle. So I thought this film was really great at what it wanted to do, what it wanted to be. But I guess according to my taste, not quite what I would usually go for, but definitely a new experience. So I appreciate that about it. So, anyway, that's me. I'm just gonna probably go to bed now. I'm kind of sleepy. Hopefully I don't have a scary dream about being on LSD. I've never taken LSD, or any drugs for that matter, because I think I'd be addicted. So, question of the day, have you taken LSD? Was it fun? Was it a nightmare? What was it like? Another question, have you seen Irreversible? And have you seen Climax? What did you think? How did they compare? Because I'm really interested. I've never actually organically met someone who's seen Irreversible. When people who've seen it have been either the people who recommended it to me or the people I recommended it to. So I'd love to know your thoughts. Yes. That's me. Wah, wah. It was funny because, see, I was pretending to be a duck, but I'm holding my sheepy. Okay, I'm literally done with this video, so au revoir.